San Diego is our community. You live here, you're connected to it. So are we. You're listening to Community Connection.
You may have seen some of their billboards or public service television spots around town, but you might not know what First 5 San Diego is all about. I'm Mark Zegan on Community Connection. We are talking about First 5 San Diego. Their goal is to promote the health and well-being of children during their most critical years of development, of course, helping the children and helping their parents, too. Here to discuss First 5 San Diego is the organization's executive director, Kim Medeiros. And Kim, welcome. So again, let's go over what First 5 San Diego is all about.
Yeah, First 5 San Diego provides programs and services for children 0 to 5 and pregnant women. Our services include healthy development checkups, dental services, and high-quality preschool in communities throughout San Diego County. Our goal is really to ensure that all children enter kindergarten ready to reach their full potential. And most of our programs are designed to treat potential health and learning problems early before kids get into school. And just something I'm going to start our messages with today is really something that a lot of people don't realize, that the first 5 years of life are really the most important years in a child's development. 90% of a child's brain develops before the age of 5. So when you think about that, these are really formative years in a child's life.
Now, generally, younger parents are involved in First 5 San Diego for the most part?
Actually, we serve parents of all age ranges, and their pregnant women obviously, can vary from a young mom to, somebody maybe having a second, third child or, hasn't been pregnant for a while. So we provide services to any pregnant woman and any children ages 0 to 5.
Yeah, when you're leaving the hospital with your newborn, they don't really give you a guidebook or an instruction manual. You're pretty much on your own for the most part, and that's where First 5 San Diego can now... how long has First 5 San Diego been around now?
Since 1999. So we've been providing services for 15 years now in San Diego County. So we're really excited about how much our programs have expanded and the good work that we're doing here in this region.
From the start to today, how has the organization grown? I guess talking about the people you serve. When you first started, how many people did First 5 San Diego initially serve?
Well, it varied. The first year or two was really just getting set up to actually go out and contract for some of these services and get things up and running. But last year, we served over 60,000 children ages 0 to 5 and probably another 25,000 parents and caregivers. So we're serving a lot of children and families out here in the county.
So obviously, each year, your populace is growing. You're serving more people than ever. You are getting the word out now a lot more than you did at the beginning, which is really good. Because I do see the billboards, the television, the public service announcements are a lot more prevalent. So I think you're hitting a lot more people than you did when you first started, obviously.
Absolutely. And I think one of the nice part that we're seeing kind of on a national front is really the importance of the early years of life. Anything from focusing on preschool, we're seeing that in the media a lot these days, to developmental screenings and really early interventions, that the sooner we can help kids and the sooner we can get them screened and ready, that the more likely we are to have them start school and be ready to learn, instead of getting them to start school and realizing that they're years and years behind. So really that is one of our goals and something that we're having a pretty far reach with.
Helping San Diego's youngest, First 5 San Diego, the executive director of First 5 is here, Kimberly Medeiros, Kim Medeiros. And let's talk about some of the areas of child development here first. You talked about health services. What do you do there?
Right. We offer healthy development services, which is really a developmental screening. And once a child is screened, if there are identified concerns, we offer treatment for behavioral issues, for speech therapy, occupational therapy. We also offer oral health programs, and we do screenings and treatment for children 0 to 5 and pregnant women. And then healthcare access really helps families realize what options are out there for health insurance, and also care coordination. And then most recently, we've really focused on the healthy eating and nutrition because, as I indicated earlier, the earlier we can get kids eating healthy, being active, and developing good habits, the more likely they are to carry those on through elementary, high school, and then through adulthood.
Okay, let's talk about that. You're talking about healthy habits that parents and caregivers should adopt to, of course, help themselves and their children. So you have the San Diego County Childhood Obesity Initiative, which you are working with,
Yes.
from what I understand.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, there are really, we try and keep things simple. Parents are busy these days, regardless of, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're out there working 1 or 2 jobs or whether you're a stay-at-home father. So we really are just trying to make it easy. And there's 4 key messages that we are trying to get people to adopt. And that's really, it's our 5210 Everyday campaign. And it's 5 or more servings of fruits and vegetables a day. The 2 is for 2 hours or less of recreational screen time, and 1 hour or more of physical activity every day, and 0 sugary drinks. We want families to really make water or low-fat milk the beverage of choice.
And also physical activity of some type.
Yeah, the 1 or more hour of physical activity each day is really, some people go, oh, there's no way I can get an hour in. But, we have great weather here in San Diego, so we try and say, go out there, take a quick bike ride, take a walk. It doesn't have to be 1 hour all at once. 10 or 15 minutes here and there really adds up to keeping kids active.
You were mentioning, Kim, about no screen time for children under the age of 2. You're hoping to keep them away from the TV, a computer, a tablet, or whatever. I have to admit, though, I saw, I guess the child was about 1, and parents were working. They had a tablet in the crib, and it was whipping through that tablet probably faster than I could do it. It was wanted to watch something, and it was easily flipping right through. And I'm watching this and going, "Holy smokes!
Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing." I'm not sure if I could have done that at the age of 1. But you want, it's every now and then it's okay, but you really don't want them planted in front of a television or a tablet or something for a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look at screen time, including TV, computers, video games, tablets, smartphones, etc. But all of those are really linked to obesity in the future and lower reading scores and possibly attention issues. So it's not that, again, it's kind of like a treat. An occasional treat is not going to be devastating to a diet. But if you have treats several times a day over a long period of time, it can impact, a child's health. And the same goes with screen time. Obviously, there's going to be occasions where, parents do have a child watch TV that are under 2. And our goal is not really to guilt trip anybody, but it's kind of just recommendations that, the American Academy of Pediatrics really does recommend that, we try and have no screen time and then 2 hours or less for any children 2 and above.
A lot of the kids under the age of 1 or 2, they watch some TV, but when you can stick a tablet in the playpen, that's a whole new world there. And I'm thinking, wow, that's interesting. I've never really seen that before. Maybe some studies are needed for the few. How does this help or hinder a very young child at that time? It's out of my realm of expertise. But I looked at that and I said, well, that's interesting. That's a new wrinkle.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be that, it's a babysitter for families and they're trying to keep children distracted. But really the best way is to, use that time. I've seen them attached to strollers, and it's like really we want parents to focus on, talking to their child, pointing out, things in nature, which really does help the child learn.
First Five San Diego is our discussion topic today on Community Connection. I'm Mark Zegan with Kim Medeiros. She is the executive director of First Five. Looking at, let's go to preschool issues. What does First Five involve itself in that area?
Yeah, in preschool, we offer half-day preschool programs throughout San Diego County. And last year, we had about 12,000 children that went through our preschool programs here in San Diego County. And we really are focused on quality in preschool because, of course, daycare and preschool and pre-K are all very important. But what's really important is to make sure that the programs are quality programs where there's a good curriculum where they establish routines and rituals for the children. So we're really proud of the work that we're doing here in San Diego with our quality preschool program. And we've actually been recognized even on a state level for being known for our quality here in San Diego.
The first 5 programs take place pretty much within the school system or other locations?
We have a variety of faith-based school system, school districts, and also nonprofit providers that are throughout San Diego County. So we are in 13 school districts as of this fiscal year, as well as another probably 20 to 30 nonprofit, faith-based, and community providers.
And before we talk about more of your programs, we should mention that the programs really are, almost everything is free.
Absolutely. Our preschool program, as long as they reside within the zip code that we're offering those services in, which, individuals can find out more by contacting 211 or our warm line, then those programs are free. We also, for most of our developmental screenings and other services, those are free as well. We do work for care coordination because if there is coverage available, we'll try and help them or link them to resources that can assist with the payment. But in general, we're very proud that the programs we offer are free of charge.
And right now, we should say first5sandiego.org is your website. So if you want to learn right now about what's going on about First 5 San Diego, again, First 5, the numeral 5, sandiego.org. And your number is 1-888-5-FIRST-5. That's how you can find out about all the programs and services which we are going to continue to discuss here today on Community Connection. For the new parents that are coming home from the hospital with their young one, you offer something, kits for new parents. What's that?
Yes, we have in coordination with First 5 California, we offer a free kit for new parents. And in the kit, it has information on parenting, it has information on immunizations. We have what's called our Daddy's Toolkit, which is a DVD for dads and new fathers out there to teach some basics, nail trimming, assisting with feeding, all of those things.
See, that's the instruction book I was talking about earlier that the hospital doesn't hand out, but you guys are handing out.
Exactly. And also a list of resources in the community, whether it's for childcare. There's also a book in there because we want to start parents early reading to their child. So it's a really nice kit. We distributed 45,000 kits last year in San Diego County. So people really do like the kit.
Well, and as you talk about reading to your child, you also have a campaign about that right now.
Yeah, actually, our campaign that we're currently promoting is our language development campaign, which does tie into reading. And the campaign educates parents about the importance of actively speaking to their child. It sounds like a high number, but we recommend, and so does the American Academy of Pediatrics, 30,000 words each day. So our message includes, which you probably have seen on billboards or a public service announcement, talk, read, and sing to your child every day. And 30,000 words a day. And it says 29,899 words after patty cake. So
that's really, when you think about it, that's a common sense thing. Because you should always be talking to your youngster, just always communicating, always just bonding with your young child, your infant, at all times.
Yeah, and a lot of times parents think that, oh, my child is a baby, or they're not speaking yet. They don't really understand. Or they know that, I should read to my child, but few know that speaking to them is just important to language success, and quantity definitely matters. Exposing children to language at an earlier age really does help them have a larger vocabulary by the age of 2, and they score much higher on standardized tests. So there definitely is a link, and even on a national level, you'll hear such thing as words matter. And it's really to help families of all socioeconomic incomes to know that, while you're with your child, it doesn't have to be a real formal thing. Talk to them while you're cooking. Explain to them what you're doing. Whether they understand it or not, they're really learning from just hearing you speak.
We'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about how you should be talking to your children. We'll talk more about First 5 San Diego and all the programs they offer for San Diegan parents, whether they be young or older parents, and how you can get involved with First 5 San Diego if you'd like a little assistance. I'm Mark Zegan. This is Community Connection, and we'll be back right after this.
Ty and Robin called First 5 San Diego to find out how to choose the right solid foods for their son. They learned that certain fruits and vegetables were the best ones to start with. And now, lunchtime even comes with a matinee. Eating the right foods makes children strong in mind and body. First 5 San Diego offers resources to make sure every child develops healthy eating habits. Call First 5 San Diego at 1-888-5FIRST-5 or visit first5sandiego.org.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The issues that affect you, the problems we need to solve together. You're listening to Community Connection.
Back on Community Connection, I'm Mark Zegan. This is a discussion of First 5 San Diego, helping children, infants, parents, and First 5 San Diego's Executive Director, Kim Medeiros, is here to talk about the organization. When we took a break, we were talking about parents talking to their children. You were mentioning 30,000 words a day.
Yeah.
It sounds overwhelming when you hear that, but it really isn't, because you should be talking to your child or to your infant as much as you can. So I have a feeling most parents probably hopefully blow past that 30,000 word mark. But some tips on that?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of words, but really it's also equivalent to reading Dr. Seuss' Cat in the Hat 18 times. And for those of you with young children out there, probably know children like repetition. So if you don't have anything you want to talk to them about, then go ahead and start reading.
And kids are usually inquisitive, and they're usually asking questions about this or that or the other thing. If you're out, out walking, and what's that, Mom? And it's very, very easy to just explain what's going on.
Yeah, we tell people, make it part of your routine to use words in your daily interactions with your children or your child. Explain to your child what you're doing and give them reasons why. So, for example, when you're cooking a healthy meal, talk to your child about the foods you're using, the colors of the foods, the shapes of the food. Or when you're out taking a walk, point to the different plants or trees and really just try and engage your children and to develop that natural curiosity that will then help them later when they're in school and trying to learn. Parents are the best teacher for children. Sometimes people say, oh, it's the school's job or the preschool or the daycare. But really, the parents play such a critical role and really the speaking part especially.
Yeah, more so, I think, than ever now, since parents are so incredibly busy. They've got to take that time. I mean, it's tough if you're running between job, and of course, there's, as we say, a daycare to help out. But when you've got that chance, you really have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and it can be in the car. It can be, while you're bathing them. Anything. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to sit them down and talk to them because, a lot of parents go, well, I don't have 20 minutes or 30 minutes to just sit in one place. But really, we just say, do it while you're engaging with them in activities.
You can engage in your child almost at any time.
Yes.
It seems to somebody who might not be a parent or a first-time parent, it might seem daunting, but it really isn't that bad.
No, it's not. And sometimes at first people say, I could never get to the 30,000 word mark. And then when they actually spend time to think about how much we talk on a daily basis, we really do get in a large amount of words.
Now, Kim, if a parent is reacting to it with their children, and they might be a little bit concerned maybe about their speech or language, or they catch something maybe they're not quite, they're a little surprised to hear. There are language and screenings for youngsters to make sure everything is okay.
Absolutely.
Or perhaps to find an issue.
And we tell parents all the time, like you said, there's no instruction book that comes with having a child. I joke with people that, it's easier to you can get a driver's license and you have to take a test, but you can leave the hospital with a child without really having to take parenting classes, which sometimes can be a little bit scary if you've never been around children or if you're a first-time parent or if you haven't been a parent in a while. So we tell parents anytime they have a concern, they can visit our website where we also have a lot of tips on there and developmental milestones. But our Healthy Development Services does provide free behavioral, speech, and language screenings for children 5 and under. So the child and the parent will meet with a behavioral or speech therapist, and they will sit down and talk with the parents to assess and observe the child's speech and behavior. And if there is treatment that's needed, then we provide that as well. Or sometimes it's just they might be concerned and they want to know, is my child developing at within the appropriate ranges for their age group. So those are services that we provide at First 5 San Diego.
First 5 San Diego, the website, that is first5sandiego.org. You're on Facebook, you're on Twitter. You can find a lot more information at all of those locations. Back up here, we were talking about, of course, how to have a balanced diet. Childhood obesity rates have tripled over the last 30 years. Those stats in San Diego County aren't very promising right now, are they, Kim?
Yeah, we had in San Diego County, more than 1 in 4 children is overweight or obese. And obese children are more likely to suffer later in life from chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure. And previously, those were only diseases we really saw in adults. And that's kind of an alarming trend nationwide that we're seeing some of these adult diseases now in younger children. And, the studies also show that children who are obese tend to score lower in academics. So the good news is that by making just a few lifestyle changes, we can really help our children lead healthier lives. And there is a big emphasis, right now in schools to really focus on trying to reduce this trend and focus on the healthy eating. But again, the best place to start is in those early years. Some
of those lifestyle changes, of course, can also help the parents. Now we can get the parents moving.
Yes.
And as long as their child is young enough to walk or run, get them outside and get them playing. As you said, get them away from the computers, the tablets, the TVs for a while. So you offer tips like that too, of course.
Absolutely. And, a lot of people are connected to social media and also to websites. So we have a lot of good tips for parents on our website. We post several times a day, on Facebook and Twitter, just kind of tips on how to make things fun within your daily life. So we also encourage parents, when they're out to eat, make sure that there's healthy options. A lot of times parents just go straight for the kids menu, and a lot of times kids menus aren't that healthy because there's the fried foods, the French fries. And so we say, try and pick an adult meal and maybe share it with your child. We know portions are huge. And then instead of, having soda or shakes or punch and juice, really ask for milk or water. Not only saves money oftentimes, but it's definitely the healthy choice.
Those are minimal lifestyle changes, but they mean a lot, especially at a young age or at any age, really. And since we're bombarded with all sorts of information and commercials and announcements about things which aren't as good for us, sometimes you've got to sit down and say, okay, I've got to move in this direction. And First 5 San Diego is helping parents, young parents, older parents, to move in that direction. You might think that this is somewhat a logical thing, but it's not necessarily top of mind.
No, and sometimes parents think, well, it's kind of the all or nothing mentality. I can't get an hour of exercise in, so I'm not going to do anything. But really, if you start small, start with a 10-minute walk, maybe get up to a 20-minute walk, and you can break it up again. Or with food, when you're out, nobody's perfect. Sometimes even as adults, we all have habits that, we want that large frappuccino and the cookie, but, finding the balance is what is important. And, if you're out and you're going to have something bad, then have water instead of the soda. Start small with swapping out one item at a time to really, hopefully, that will make the long-term impact of not having, the bad food meal as well as a shake, as well as the chips or anything before the meal. So just small choices really can make a difference in the long run.
First 5 San Diego, the executive director, Kim Medeiros, is here talking about the program, so many things that they do offer to parents. Backing up to one thing we talked about earlier, healthcare. With the changes in healthcare these days, you're helping parents and families enroll in getting healthcare that might not have been covered?
Yes, that's been a core program of First 5 for years, is really navigating families through the complex
through
healthcare.
Through Covered California.
Through Covered California. Well, previously, when Covered California wasn't there, we were the primary enroller of the 0 to 5-year-olds and pregnant women in insurance. And now with Covered California, we are working with our community partners to make sure that the health navigators and enrollment specialists out in the field are well-versed interest in what programs are available to families out there in San Diego
How
County.
has that been going for you? Have you been able to try to get as many people enrolled as possible?
Yeah, and since we don't do the actual enrollment, but we link them with Covered California right now, or with the Health and Human Services Agency for other programs that they might be eligible for. But there's definitely a lot of interest and a lot of questions that are coming in. So we're really just helping families navigate through that system.
We should mention, too, of course, as we said earlier, programs are free. How is First Five funded? I think a lot of people may not remember how First Five was funded some time ago.
Yeah, actually, we received Prop 10 tobacco tax dollars, and it's 50 cents per pack of cigarettes to fund program and services for children 0 to 5 and their families, as well as pregnant women. So we're able to bring in dollars here to San Diego County that are doing a lot of good out there in the community.
Is that tax, that Prop 10 tax, it's been enough, hasn't it? You've been able to do what you need to do with the funds you have.
Yeah, we wish we could serve all children in the county 0 to 5. We are serving about 1 in 4 children in that age range here in the county. So could we do more with more dollars? Of course, but we're faced with making sure that the dollars that we do get, that we are using them wisely out there and following kind of trends that are happening, that we really are trying to make a difference and focus on those key areas.
You bring up trends. What other things do you see, Kim, that First Five San Diego is getting involved with, maybe that you weren't involved with in the past, but now as this grows, you're obviously doing some things maybe you didn't do at the start.
Yeah, and I think one of the big areas is kind of in the oral health arena, and I think with a lot of families, regardless of income, a lot of times coverage is not enough or doesn't really pay for, the treatment and screenings. And that was an area that we were finding that a lot of young children, especially low-income children, were not seeing a dentist. And when they were in school, a lot of times people don't realize that, dental cavities or dental decay, it's painful for the child. And if they're, not able to concentrate because they have mouth pain and other issues going on, that it really does impede their progress, not only with their speech, but also with their academic learning. So we have heavily invested over the past 4 to 5 years, really, in our oral health to kind of fill that gap in the community and make sure that kids are getting screened. And also pregnant women, a lot of dentists even didn't want to treat pregnant women because they didn't think that it was safe.
Really?
Yeah. So for whatever reason, we worked really closely with the dental community to advocate and say, it is okay to provide these screenings and also treatment while a woman is expecting.
I see. Okay, we're talking about x-rays and things such as that, which might be the issue. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah, so we really work on the community education piece.
So it's something as simple as that, brush your teeth 2 or 3 times a day. So you're really right down to the basics, aren't you?
Yeah, and you would think that something that seems very basic a lot of times doesn't happen. So we have some fun little kits that we give out at community events and DVDs on, brushing your teeth, how long you should do it for. And we partnered with Sesame Street on that one, so it makes it fun for the children as well.
Along with all of your other programs, you'll turn up out the community. First Five San Diego will set up shop at various screenings or street fairs or such as that. We'll find you out there, won't we?
And a lot of those, either we are out there or our contractors that provide services are out there. We also sponsor many community events, so when we can't be there or even when we are, a lot of times we help fund the setup of those community events as long as there's children going to be in attendance that are 0 to 5. A
lot of things here at the website. I just had a couple of things I had pulled off here. Again, first5sandiego.org. You can find out about all the programs from First Five San Diego. I just noticed here we've got about a minute and a half to go. You even had a recall for parents about car safety seats. So you offer important, pertinent information when it's needed.
Yeah, and we're really thrilled that our social media presence has really grown. We have, almost 3,300 followers right now on our Facebook page, and that's growing every day because we do put a lot of that information out there. It's not always, our information, but things like Again, healthy eating tips, recipes, car seat recalls, community events that are going on. Sometimes parents just want to know, hey, you know what, this weekend I'm not busy. Where can I take my children to that might be age appropriate? And what type of events are happening in the community that are either free or low cost? So we have all of that on there, and we just redesigned our website. It went live a couple of weeks ago, and there's a lot of good information for parents.
And for that information, go to first5sandiego.org. Kimberly Medeiros, she is the executive director of First 5 San Diego. I think we've covered what we need to cover, and make sure you get that information. Young parents, even older parents, First 5 San Diego. Go there right now and check it out.
Thank you
I'm
so
Mark
much.
Zegan. That's Community Connection.